So picture this. You're walking to your friend's house, you're going through a park, you're taking a nice stroll. But then you drop your guitar case, and you think to yourself, my guitar case is here to protect my guitar. I don't need to think of anything. Well, once you reach your friend's house and then you open the case, you see your guitar snapped in half. Although this situation may seem impossible, it has happened before, as it happened to my cousin before. Now, what's the point of getting a case if it's not going to even protect your guitar or protect what you bought it for? This is where we come in. We at Riffs promise to give you a more protective case, more customizability, and ensure that it meets your needs. Hi, my name is Feliciano Santiago. I'm the CFO of Riffs.
Hello, my name is Jaime Rodriguez. I am the CTO of Los Riffs.
Hello, I am Elias, and I am the co-CTO of Los Riffs.
This is Torres. I'm the CMO of Los Riffs.
My name is Jay Reyes. I'm the CEO of Los Riffs.
And my name is Santiago. I'm the secretary of Los Riffs.
Now, with the major problem that we face is that guitar cases aren't really as protective as they may seem. Another problem that we face is that guitar cases are just boring in general. They're not creative and they don't really reflect the person who's playing the guitar.
And our solution is the Moss case, or better understanding as the modified original series. Now within this series, there's two different guitar cuts that we have, really to suit your guitar. For our far left, we have the box, which is mainly used for electrical guitars as well as some acoustic guitars. And our far right is our guitar cut, which is mainly used for classical guitars and acoustic guitars. What you have here on the screen is our team's designs for each cut. And this is where the modified original series really comes in, because we design what you want to portray in your case. Your needs, your ideas on the case, we will create. For creativity in our value proposition, we really want to focus on what you want yourself, your case to stand out, whether it's colors or shapes. For me personally, I'm a guitarist. I really love very cumbia style, right? So I'll put famous cumbia artist. For your custom needs, we will provide whatever you like. One custom need is leather straps, just suit it as a backpack, or rollerblades, where you could just roll it down the street, and we will provide as well good quality.
This is Mauricio Tapia, or more known as Los Retros. He's a music artist living here in the city of Oxnard, right here in California. And early on, when presented by our idea, he said the idea of a customized case was actually really cool, but to also really focus on the protection of it, because TSA doesn't have a good reputation with handling your luggage. So, of course, with this idea, there's going to be competition, with Carlton cases and Benedict art cases being our biggest competitors. Both provide protection with their Carlton cases hard outside layer for the protection of your guitar, and Benedict art cases leather and foamy outside. But they both don't provide as customizability, as you can only really change the colors on the outside and the foam, or as the fox fur, on the inside. With Carlton cases being, this big, like almost as tall as me, case that's hard plastic that would cost extra to put even straps on it. So it wouldn't be as comfortable to walk around or even go anywhere with it. And Benedict art cases being made of leather, so it would be actually somewhat comfortable. But both start at $1,000, with the average being between both of them. And Carlton cases now, since 2026, starting at $1,500. We at Los Riffs are making sure that every single day that we are trying to put more protection in our cases, making sure that you have anything that you want to put on the inside, if not the outside, with images, if not any add-ons you might do, like straps or anything, but also keeping it to your comfort for your customizability, while starting at $650, going higher, if not lower, depending on how much you add, if not take off the case. So how are we going to reach our customers? Well, we plan to reach our customers through our social media, mainly bring the big updates on our protection that we're trying to put in our cases, while also different ways that you can customize it. With our conversation methods being maybe through our Instagram, if not through email, phone numbers, and a video call, to have that one-on-one connection to make sure that your time and your money is being well spent on the case, which equals a happy customer.
And here's our customer distribution. So after we're done customizing and making the guitar cases, we're going to have a shipping company like FedEx deliver and ship the cases to our customers.
Now you might think, who actually wants our case? Well, we ran an ad on Instagram to find out. And through this ad, we reached over 10,000 people. And throughout those 10,000 people, 1.9% of them actually went on our website and checked out our stuff. And we found out that Fresno was our primary audience, and through this data, we can run more personalized advertising and strengthen our connection with our community.
And obviously, with everything comes, financial model. So this is our financial model, which consists of 3 different categories: TAM, SAM, and SOM. TAM is our total addressable market, which is if everyone we got from California who fits our criteria, and we manage to sell a guitar case to each and every single one of them, is going to be equivalent to around $183 million. Our SAM is our serviceable addressable market. Right now, since we aren't a major company and we're barely starting off, we're only going to be able to reach people in Fresno, which cuts down a number, but our SAM, which is the people we're able to reach that fit our criteria in Fresno, is around $22 million. Now, obviously, we can't sell a guitar case to everyone, either from financial problems or them not wanting to buy a guitar case. We feel like our share market is around 4%, as we believe we could turn 4% of the people who fit our criteria from Fresno into paying customers, which will give us a sum of a little under $900,000. And which leads to our proposal, which we'll be asking for $190,000 for 25% of our company. The reason why we ask this amount is this amount will allow us to be able to buy the materials and the warehouse in order to start building our guitar cases and not fall behind, and also help provide us enough money to have a startup inventory to be able to ensure that we won't fall behind if we do start to get a lot of sales. And obviously comes the guitar case and the cost. The cost, it seems like it's going to take us around we're going to be selling them for $650, and in order to make them, it's going to cost around $350, which will be bringing in around $300 per guitar case that we sell. Obviously, the price will vary depending on what you add to the guitar case and what you take away from the guitar case. But in the end, we found that the medium is to be around $350 to make it and $300 to sell it. And here's our growth rate. So in our second year, we believe that we are able to grow around 5% from our first year, which will bump our yearly revenue to a little over $900,000. And in our third year, we believe that we're able to increase by 10%, which will bump us over over $1 million. Now,
So our 3-year exit plan is to not sell, but we do plan to grow more connections throughout our community. Get growth throughout these artists and people who want to make it an industry. And we do plan to gain more investors and possibly even start future products like keyboards or violins or any instrument really.
And here are the different ways you can contact us with our email, our Instagram, and our Google phone number, where you can call us and we'll answer any of your questions and or concerns about your case or our cases. Here at Los Riffs, we want to help you make your own riff with our guitar cases. Thank you for your time.
I'll go ahead and start. I think one thing that came to me is all of you are very passionate about this product, and I really appreciate that from mentioning your cousin and how that might have spearheaded. But the other thing is I have never played a guitar, and I know nothing about why you would customize it. And I appreciate whenever you were talking about your unique value, your UVP, you gave specific examples of what makes it unique, and you described it on that screen. And so whenever you're talking about the customization, it's like, oh, I didn't think that was a thing. So that was really helpful to someone who doesn't have the background knowledge. So I do appreciate that. I guess I'm not so much in the investment, but did you guys talk about pivots or potential pivots, or is that in here that from results from your MVP? I know you talked about your customer or your IDO customer, but I was just looking on here, and I know some of the things have talked about potential pivots. Is that am I asking a good question?
Talking about future products we could do, because we don't want to do just guitar cases, but for now we will do guitar cases. But in the future we want to do other instrument cases like keyboards or violins or any instrument.
So does that decision, could it come from the results of like your MVP whenever you did you do surveys or have people, so what did you get from those surveys?
Oh, so when we did the surveys, it was actually in the very beginning when we were like first starting out. We did a survey in Fresno City College, and we walked around with people that like were carrying guitars. And they're like, yeah, like I don't have the money, but if I really did, because like they're passionate about actually playing the guitar, I would actually buy one of these cases from an actual guitar, but not right now. But that's really all the information we got. And when we did, what's it called? When we were trying to get other surveys, we didn't get as much information as people, coming by, and we would actually meet a specific, I would say, group of people.
Uh-huh.
So it's really hard to actually get that information, but we are trying.
Okay. So there could be decisions based upon the information you get. If they don't have the money, what could be something you could offer them in the meantime for a product? I don't know. I was just crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. I just didn't know if I missed it. Okay. Thank you.
I like to say I don't have a guitar, but once I seen the cases, I was like, wow, I kind of wanted one of those. They look good. I think on the UVP slide, when you're talking about the different examples, I think you mentioned cumbia.
Yeah.
I would include those images up there, so that way we can kind of get the idea in our heads. That way, it's like you're telling the story, really speaking to it. One thing I would consider is to maybe target like institutions or organizations that have musicians. I know like a school, or you guys mentioned like City College, maybe like their band program may have funds to purchase equipment for the musicians. That just may be something to look into.
I am in an interesting position here because I have a friend that customizes pedals for bands. And he's hired as an artist to specifically work on pedals, does etchings. So first off, let me say you guys all look sharp, so you look great. The couple things that stood out to me when you mentioned the TSA, that's a huge one. I don't know if anybody has ever tried to ship anything, but that's a huge one. But when it comes to the customization of design, right? The hardest part is your labor. Fortunately, you guys are also at a stage where laser etching, customized stickers, customized painting and labeling, as well as patches, are easier and easier to make and customize according to the customer's needs. So, what have you guys thought about in terms of automating the customization process to lower your labor costs?
When it comes to thinking of automating, although it's not something we really are looking into right now, we do know that we will be hand making these, but automation is something we are considering to bring into the future. As obviously, since we're starting out, we won't have like a huge rush of buyers that are waving the money around, but eventually, once the business does take off, we are going to have that. So in terms of automation, we do plan to eventually get machinery in order to help put the designs and other things onto the guitar cases. As much as we want to make sure that, yes, you can say, yes, this is handmade, everything was with love and passion, eventually machinery is something you will have to pay into.
Because that price point, at $650, I know it's a starting point, but that customization, you're paying an artist to customize something to somebody else's wishes, and that can go a lot of different ways, right? Yeah. So I would encourage you that if you're going to do handmade, that price point is probably too low, especially if you want to get into that market. Can you go back to the SOM on there? Sorry. The market that I see for that, for a lot of these, is people that are in bands that are traveling a lot. Okay, so I would like to have seen that. They don't have their roadies, right? They don't have a bus going somewhere. They're traveling from place to place using the airport, and they're a band that's up and coming, but they don't quite have the money yet to have all that. So again, that number might be lower in terms of percentage, But I think if you could definitely increase the price on those costs, because I mean, guitars. What are the ranges of good guitar costs if it gets destroyed? Dylan?
1,000.
Yeah.
Even more.
Right. So I think that's a sticking point and a marketing point you can really focus on.
Thank you.
First off, I want to echo that you all look sharp. Good job. Good job on that. I love the concept. I think it's a creative, unique thing. I want to ask you, is your main value prop safety of the guitar or customization? Because I kind of don't know after your presentation.
Obviously, we want to ensure that we're able to provide customizability without sacrificing safety as well. Obviously, it's something going to be very difficult to pull off, but we really want to ensure it to pull off. We want to ensure that everyone who have whatever they want on their guitar case be as customizable as they want, but not worry about, oh, it's just because I have this on this, that means that the guitar is going to be more fragile and more easy to break. We want to make you feel secure enough to be able to customize as much as you want, but also be secure. So we are looking to do a mixture of both in order to ensure that you're able to put what you want without fearing of like having to sacrifice any like toughness of your guitar case.
Okay, so here's something to think about on that. The true novel piece is the safety. These days, everybody has a Cricut that they can print out their own vinyl stickers. Okay, so the customization, unless you want to get into a $2,000 case, the customization is a little, to his point, everybody can do that. I make t-shirts for my kids' baseball games. Everybody can make their own things these days. So think about really, if you want to go for safety, I think that is a novel piece. I think you could do a lot of very creative marketing. The whole dummy with the dummy car test things. You could do the skater with the thing and he's skating and he's doing like a trick and he drops it and he pulls it out. You could do so much fun creative marketing with the safety component, and to the point of travel, and that's city bus, inner city, all that. Like, I think that's the novel piece here, and maybe in true MVP fashion, start with a small scale customization with vinyl stickers, maybe colors. You pick your color, use XYZ, and they could be big vinyl stickers. They don't have to be small little ones, So I would kind of focus a little bit on that. I would say also, if you can just go back, I keep getting stuck on this, but when you say you got 1.9% of people were interested, go back to that slide and they clicked on your website. Okay. So you're telling me that you did a marketing and you got 1.9% conversion rate of people coming to your website, right? But then on the next slide, you say that you're anticipating 4% conversion on your sales. So those two numbers kind of don't really match up. And I would like to see if I'm going to invest a little bit more legitimacy here. We got 1.9%. What happened? They just viewed your website. If they just viewed your website, they're not necessarily going to be down for a $650 guitar case, right? So maybe if you think, in thinking this, I know you're kind of towards the end of your term, but what are some additional analytics that you can provide there? What is on your website? You can ask customers and get more of that survey information at scale. What is the price point they're willing to pay? Are they willing to put a deposit on something? That type of thing. Because for me, if I'm going to give you, $100,000 or something, just to see that they're interested in your website doesn't necessarily convince that they're going to purchase, but there's interest there. So being able to dissect that just a little bit more would be a little more convincing, I think. But overall, yes, I love the concept. I think that there's a lot of partnerships. It was kind of mentioned. There's tons of partnerships that you could explore with this concept. A lot of our school bands, they travel. They travel all over the place. So there's a lot of potential there. So good job. I liked it.
Should have a safety case for that. I thought you were going to be good cop and I was going to be bad cop. I feel like, well, first of all, I have a lot of people in my life that would be interested in a product like this. Okay, my brother played in a band. My dad played in a band with all of my uncles. Okay, I mean, if you guys could make one for a banjo, then I would need one. I mean, I know a lot of people that would pay a lot of money for this. And Kurt was right. Those midterm people who are out there doing the shows and traveling around and making it. There's a lot more of those than the top rock stars that actually made it. And so total, that's a lot of money. But again, there's not a lot to support my interest as an investor to say, right? There's just a few things that were missing to convince me if it's a difference between a risk or a home run. In that, sure, I know that it's not for everybody, but it may be for those people. It could be perfect. But you started off with the elevator pitch was about safety, and it never discussed how that it was made, or what was made, or what makes it different, or how can you ensure that you're going to protect my case. It was a lot about customization, and I like that. I mean, it should be both, manufacturing-wise, but it really didn't stand out to me as how that it was different. If it was safety, or for whatever reason, how that it's not just a case that anybody else can get. And like I said, there's just a few things that I just didn't feel, like I said, as confident, right? That I was clearly that it's going to be a good investment for me, right? That I'm going to put this in, and then enough people are going to buy that it makes a lot of money. I mean, I think the concept is great, and so you guys are dressed very professionally. However, do I feel like any of you guys are guitar players by the way that you're dressed? That could also be a thing to tie the theme together. And I'm not ever saying to not wear a suit, because we should all look really sharp all the time, yeah. But like I said, there's just a few things. Also, the colors on your slides were very dark and made a few things hard to read. Like this one is good, right? It's a good contrast and that kind of stuff. But so I think you guys are on the right path. That you are into something. I think it needs to, it needs to be explored a little more, because as an investor, all day long people want money from me, right? And I have several different things that I could choose to put my money in. I want to be sure that this is the one. So give me everything that I need to make that decision, right? Make sure that it, just sings out and calls to me. There's nothing wrong with this. This is all the things that I want. And, like I said, the addressable market, the conversion rate, there's some things there. And I think, you guys are all seem to be very passionate about playing and that kind of stuff. But it didn't necessarily convince me that it's a guarantee of my money, right? Make one for saxophones too, because I know they would spend even more money than the guitars. But yes, right? The sax players. My daughter,
Yeah, still on that. Sorry for cutting you off. But, still on that topic, we actually did try to. Me and my secretary here actually went to the Guitar Center, but it was actually a really slow day, and I think only like 20 people, around 20, maybe less. Like 20 people only went there for like the 2 or 3 hours that were there. And they didn't even come in to just look at the guitars. They were in either for like repairs or just ask a question, or were just there looking around. And so we didn't really seem to like, if they were there in a rush and they're important because they were just talking to like just the head people there asking questions. We didn't want to really bother them with any questions because their time can be valuable. So. But in that, we do also still plan to like go even more days, if not trying to branch out to those places that you guys have talked about. It's just that we still haven't done it. That's in our part.
Thank you for presenting today. My question is in terms of marketing, since it's like a very specific, you're finding these musicians. I know you found some across the street at Fresno City that unfortunately cannot afford your product. How are you going to go about finding those that can afford your product? What does that search look like?
That search can be anywhere. Again, kind of hard to find them. But it can be even through our social media, as there's also other shops that do post on the social media, and they do also post like older guitars that may be more expensive. That's also another place where we can look into as hey, we can reach out, maybe we can talk to people that do buy those expensive guitars or that are really passionate or have a lot of guitars. That's where somewhere where we can find people that are going to willing to spend the money and also have the passion and creativity to also put it into our pieces.
Gentlemen.